Can you tell people about what happened when you started fermenting the coconut water?
Yeah, so Tula had been on the diet, and that was a transition for her because she was really used to. She was such a picky eater. She would eat. She was used to eating cheese and crackers and sugar. I mean, I was the mom that would bribe her to get in the car with suckers, and so she was used to eating. So she had this plate now of chicken and broccoli, and she was refusing to eat it. And what I did was I used little stevia drops to put it on the broccoli to just get her to start eating. And that, as you know, their taste buds start changing once they get the good bacteria in their guts. So that only lasted a little while. But um, once, well, she had been on the antifungal, and now we're moving to coconut kefir. And I thought, well, it can't be as powerful as a prescription drug. So we just decided to give her a cupful, and the most amazing thing happened. I mean, she had a die off that really scared us. I mean, her behaviors got so bad. And I called the doctor, and he said, well, it's working. You just have to decrease the dose. So we went from about a cup to about a half teaspoon,
Oh, wow.
and worked our way up. Now I know not all kids, react that way, but for her it was pretty intense. And we would just use a little syringe and say you can have 5 of these syringefuls of kefir, and then you can have a gluten-free, casein-free cookie. As her taste buds started changing, then we would just do half a cookie, and then there was no cookie, and she would be asking for the kefir on her own. So that was amazing, and she started connecting. She started talking. She actually, was having conversations with us instead of talking about Mr. Noodle on Sesame Street and making no sense. She started talking about that she had always had an owie tummy. So for her, it was just amazing. And
Yeah,
then
that it doesn't always happen that way where suddenly she starts talking, because sometimes talking is one of the later things, but a whole bunch of other good things start happening.
yes,
And I just want to add a few things along the way here. So it's very, very common for the parents to write into our, group, our emails in the Bedrock group. They, like, the first person I told to do this was actually a family member whose son had autism, and she lived in on the Isle of Palms in South Carolina. And I remember talking to her for a couple of hours and just I didn't really know for sure, but I just explained what I thought would happen. And so, because I knew they had gut problems that needed to be fixed, I knew they had yeast problems that needed to be fixed. So I told Diane what I thought would work. Well, she, in my opinion, needs a major award for this, but she started cracking those coconuts. And I remember hanging up thinking, she will never, ever, ever find coconuts in Charleston South. This is an island in Charleston, the deep South. And so she did, though, and she started cracking them like crazy, and she gave them to Thomas. But same thing, he wouldn't eat anything but crackers. That's all they will eat is gluten, flour products, sugar, and dairy, and those are super addictive. So anyway, so she put it in what she told me was junky juice. And I said, what does that mean? And she said, I don't even want to tell you what I was giving him. But within the week, he didn't want the junky juice anymore. He just wanted the coconut kefir. And we've had parents write in and say, will they become an alcoholic from drinking this fermented drink? Because he won't stop drinking it. But when kids do that, those are the ones that definitely start recovering faster. So I wanted to throw that in. So she was basically following a pattern that we see quite often, and it's exciting. And so you knew you were on the right path. And then what?
and then we started adding fermented vegetable juice. So we started fermenting vegetables, and then we would juice them just because it was easier to put in the syringe. We put a little stevia in it, and then she was having more die-offs with that. And then, she had always been on probiotic capsules, But now, pairing it with something live, she was having more die-offs with the probiotic capsules, and we were just increasing the CFU counts when she could tolerate that. So she was having die-offs just all the time and getting better and getting healthier. So, and then at the same time, she was flying through her lessons now at ABA, where before, she just wasn't making much progress. And now parents were coming up and saying, "What are you doing? We're observing Tula and we can't believe the progress." So, and
Well, yeah, I want to add something here before I forget it.
yeah,
You mentioned that all of a sudden she's talking and having conversations with you, and a lot of the children are not even present. They're off in the bedroom watching video games. They won't even come out. They won't talk to you or anything. And so it looks like they're not learning or absorbing everything. That's just that they're in their own world. But when they do start coming out and they do start talking, you can see how much they're actually absorbing
right.
and remembering, and they just can't get it out. I remember one time, Holly, I was talking in Pasadena. You and Michael came to that talk and brought the girls, and then they came up on stage with me, and I remember asking them, what was it like to have Tula? I said, what was it like to have autism? Because, people don't know that answer to a question like that. The kids don't get, nobody asks them, what was it like? And, but in Tula's case, she said, it was so hard. I was trying to communicate. I was trying to talk to people to get it out, but it just wouldn't come out. That's because parts of the brain just aren't connecting with each other, but everything's there. There's inflammation in the brain that's interfering with the brain working more effectively. But that's important to understand, is they're very much present. And when they can communicate, your parents are shocked with the conversations they can have.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's important.
Yes.
That's
yes.
encouraging for parents to know that their child's just not, like, I don't know, like their brain isn't working. It is working.
Right.
So what about, and then her sister, when I asked her, well, what was it like to have a sister that wasn't there, basically? And she said, that's exactly what she said. She said, well, it was just like having a sister, but no one was there. So, but another thing I want to ask you, a lot of times, I see this so commonly, is there are other children in the family, and then this child comes along with autism, and it requires so much focus to help that child get well. The other children often, feel like all the attention is going to the child with autism. Can you speak to that?
Tula's sister definitely felt that way. And it was hard too, because I would have to sneak her in the basement just to have, some grapes or a treat. And she didn't like that, and there were times where she would come, I would say, it's a secret. And she would go straight to Tula and say, guess what I just ate? And she wanted Tula to know, and it was hard. It was really hard on her. And socially too, because we really had to pull back from being involved in like the neighborhood gatherings, because, at one point Tula was ready, but everything revolved around sugar. It was Easter egg hunts filled with candy, and let's have donuts before trick-or-treating, and let's go ice skating with s'mores. And we did it for a while, and it was hard. And I didn't understand why all gatherings have to be around junk food.